Lie, 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 lie. Yai, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, lie, lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, 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 lie. Yeah, lie, da, die. Yeah, lie, 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 yeah, lie, lie, lie. Shabbat Shalom, here we are again. It feels like last Shabbat was yesterday, and it's good to be with you. So I can see that already many friends are here tonight, and I'm going to greet you all. James, I hope you're okay. Shabbat Shalom. Holly, Shabbat Shalom. Craig, I need to ask you about this Zoom to Restream. I really tried hard, but actually I couldn't do this tonight. So another time. Deborah, Shabbat Shalom. Natalia, Jill, Norman, Joyce, Shabbat Shalom to you guys. Sandra, Shabbat Shalom. Philip, I'm very proud of you. You're not late tonight. Louisa, Shabbat Shalom to you. Liz, Seymour, and Lola. Oh, how is she doing? I mean, Liz and Seymour, I'm happy to see you, but Lola. Michelle, Shabbat Shalom. And Julie to you too. Yes. And Rubes. Oh, Boo is not. Okay, why? Sarah, Josh, Sibyl, Anna, Sandra Weber, Philip. Wow, that's just amazing. Shabbat Shalom to you all. And we're going to start our service by lighting the Shabbat candles. And if you haven't done this already, just do it with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. Shabbat Shalom. Okay, let me organize myself. Yes, here. So I'm a bit annoyed because I really wanted to put on the screen a few pictures tonight, and so apparently I'm doing something wrong with technology, but it's fine. By the end of the lockdown, I hope I will have mastered this putting pictures online when Craig and Rebecca are not here to help me. I need to work on that. Okay, page 76. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi Amlachim, Akadosh, Akadosh Baruch Hu. בואכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. לי 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 לי, ידה לי 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 לי, ידה לי 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 לי, ידה לי 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 לי, ידה לי 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 לי, la 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 la, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da. I can see that Carol Goldring has joined us. Shabbat Shalom, Carol. Shabbat Shalom to you, Tina and Neil. It's good to be with you all tonight for Shabbat. And we turn now to page 78 for another piyut, for another liturgical poem for Shabbat, which it's called Yedid Nefesh, which comes from the 15th century. Let me check if I'm not saying anything wrong. But it's a very mystical liturgical poem which talks about our soul being bound to God for eternity. Yeah, it's appeared by Eleazar Azikri, who lived between 1533 and 1600, one of the Safed mystics. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Meshor Avdecha El Retzonecha, soul's beloved source of mercy, draw your servant to your will. Let me leap like a deer to stand in awe before your glory. Your love is sweeter than the taste of honey. Show yourself, beloved, and spread over me the shelter of your peace. Illumine the world with your presence, and we will rejoice and be glad in you. Hurry, loved one, the holy day has come. Be gracious to us as in days of old. Yedid nefesh avarachaman, Yedid nefesh avarachaman, משעבדך אל רצונך. ירוץ עבדך כמו אייל, ישתחווה לה 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 מול הדרך. ירב לו ידידותיך מנופת צוף, לה 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 וכל טעם. יגאלנה לה 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 ופרוס חביב עלי, את סוכת שלומך, את סוכת שלומך. תאיר ארץ מכבודך, נגילה ונשמחה בה, נגילה ונשמחה בה. I'm wondering if I actually used the wrong tune for that. Yeah, no, it's the right one. Yedi nefesh, this one is probably easier for me, and I hope you can join me. Yedi nefesh avarachaman, meshor chavdach el retzonecha, yarutz avdecha kemo ayal, yishtachave el mul hadarach, ירב לו ידידותיך מנופת צוף וכל טעם. יגאלנה ופרוס חביב עלי, את סוכת שלומך. תאיר ארץ מכבודך נגילה ונשמחה בך, מה אהוב כי במועד וכוננו כי מעולם. לה 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 יה לה 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 יה לה 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 La 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. We can turn now to page 80, and we have a poem written by Chaim Nachman Bialik, who was a poem who was born, I think, in Odessa in 1873. And he made Aliyah and he died in Israel, the land of Israel, in 1934. And the poem is entitled Shabbat HaMalka. And the chose like modern poetry can actually make its way into our prayer book and add something really gorgeous. The sound of the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace. We welcome the Sabbath with song and with prayer, and home we'll return, our hearts' gladness to share. The table is set there, the candles are glowing, the food is prepared, the wine will be flowing. O day of blessing, day of rest, O day of peace, forever blessed, bring peace to us all, O angels of peace. החמה מראש אילנות נסתלקה, בואו ונצא לקראת שבת המלכה, הנה היא יורדת הקדושה הברוכה, ועם המלאכים צבא שלום ומנוחה. בואי המלכה, בואי הכלה, שלום עליכם מלאכי השלום. קיבלנו פני שבת ברננה ותפילה, הביתה נשובה בלב מלא גילה, שם ערוך השולחן הנרות יריחו, כל פינות הבית יזריחו, שבת שלום וברכה, שבת שלום ומנוחה, בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום. Okay, so I didn't know that, Sandra, we sing with English to the tune. The sound of the treetops no longer is seen. Okay, you will need to teach me that. I don't know how to put together things. It's a lovely tune. Okay, page 86, and here we traveling in the world of Piyutim, of Jewish Piyutim, and we were in Safed in the 16th century, and now we go to Yemen, where there used to be a very important Jewish community, and they had their own liturgy, their own nusach, their own food, of course. And the Rori Yikra is usually sung with a Yemenite tune. It means proclaim freedom for a daughter and son, and keep us, God, as the apple of your eye. דרור יקרא לבנים בת וננצורכם כמו בבת. נעים שמכם ולא יושפט, שבו ונוחו ביום שבת, שבו ונוחו ביום שבת. דראש נביא ועולמי, ואות ישע עשה עמי. נטע שורק בתוך כרמי, ששבת בני עמי, ששבת בני עמי. דרך חוכמה לנפשך, והיא כתר לראשך. נעצור מצוות קדושך, שמור שבת קודשך, שמור שבת קודשך. I return to page 89. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימרתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Page 91 for Lecha Dodi. 91 for Lecha Dodi. I'm always... לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נאסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה. בואי חלה, לך דודי לקחת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקחת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Page 92 for Barechu. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. We praise you, eternal one, our God, sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and seasons, and whose will sets the stars in their courses in the sky. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness, and darkness from night, light. You make day pass and bring on the night, and separate day from night. You rule the host of heaven. We praise your God, whose word makes evening fall. Unending love have you shown your people, the house of Israel. Torah, mitzvot, laws, and precepts have you taught us. When we lie down and when we rise up, we will reflect on the meaning of your laws and rejoice in the words of your Torah and your mitzvot forever. On them we will meditate day and night, for they are our life and the length of our days. May your love never depart from us. We praise your God. You love your people Israel. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגד יומם בלילה. ואהבתך אל תסור ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך, בכל לבביך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשורבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם. I don't know if you remember a few weeks back, I read you a poem, and I would like to read it for you now as part of this third blessing. The third blessing is a blessing of redemption. It's a blessing when we show our gratitude for God's redemption, when we think, reflect on our life and the life of our people and our personal life. And it's the occasion for us to really pause during the Shema and to really think about what's good in our life. And there is a wonderful poem written by Rabbi Suzanne Sabransky entitled We Dream the Dream, and I read it, I think, a few weeks ago. Drinking from the wellspring of life, we are born into this universe. We open our mouth and breathe. We open our eyes and see. We use our ears and hear. We bare our hearts and feel. Learning from the book of humanity, we crawl, stumble, and finally walk. We grasp handholds, and as we climb, we continue on despite being weary. We fumble forward best we can. We reach out to the stars. We search for God's essence in our lives. We try to understand the nature of His holiness. We wish to become creations of grace. We seek the path of righteousness. We face the mountains of truth. We look for strength from heaven. Traveling, always traveling, we journey on. We seek out our true calling. We search endlessly for deeper meaning. We strive hard to achieve goals. We find love. We lose love. We find hope and we want to keep it. Looking at the book we created, we see the good we do. We see the flaws which we have. We feel the pain of failing. We know the joy of winning. We realize who we truly are. We are the essence of God's design. We are the nature of eternal holiness. We are the creations of omnipotent grace. We try to walk the path of solemn righteousness. We attempt to climb the mountains of unrepentant truth. And always, always we dream the dream of heaven. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Israel. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. Page 96. Ashiveinu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'amideinu malkeinu lechayim. And let us rise up to life renewed. Spread your wise counsel. And for your name's sake, shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for your guardian deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. God our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. We praise you, O God. May your shelter and peace descend on us and all who dwell on earth. I'm going to ask you now to close your Siddur and just to listen to the Amidah, the English Amidah that I will read to you now. But before we do that, we sing together Adonai Svatai Tiftach. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth shall declare your praise. Blessed are you, eternal our God, and God of those who came before us, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, God of Rachel, and God of Leah, great, mighty, and revered God, God transcendent, maker of heaven and earth. With a word, you shielded our ancestors. With a phrase, you give all things life. Sacred God beyond compare, who took joy in providing rest for your people on your holy Shabbat day. We will serve you reverently acknowledging on each and every day forever just who you are, the one to whom blessing goes, the one to whom thanksgiving is due, source of peace, who recalls the time of creation by sanctifying Shabbat, blessing the seventh day, and in holiness, granting rest to a people overflowing with joy. Baruch atah Adonai, Oseh HaShalom. Blessed are you, eternal God, the source of peace. Guide us in your world with good companions and good intentions. When we rise up in the morning, may we find our hearts ready to revere you, and may our deepest longings be fulfilled for good. O my God, guard my tongue from speaking evil and my lips from telling lies. Even when others curse me, may my soul be silent and humble as the dust to all. Open my heart to your teaching and make me eager to your will. Dissuade those who seek to harm me, and let not their plans prevail. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. יהיו לרצון אמרי יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, וגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני. אדוני, צורי וגואלי יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני, צורי וגואלי. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל. Shabbat Shalom. Now it's the moment that if I were a bit better with technology, I could show you wonderful pictures of a tabernacle, pictures that Sandra found on the internet. But it seems that I'm hopeless with Restream, Zoom to Restream via Facebook. I'm a bit hopeless. So you're going to have to trust my words. I wanted to talk to you tonight about this parasha Truma, which is the first parasha of a long series of Torah portions, which will talk about the tabernacle. You know, this portable sanctuary which they built in the desert. So you have to think about the context first. They left Egypt quite recently, and the first thing they do now is to build a sanctuary. But just before, at the end of last week parasha, we learned that Moses goes up on the top at Mount Sinai, and he's alone, and he will stay there 40 days and 40 nights. And since they've left Egypt, that's the first time they do something together. But in the meantime, the 40 days that Moses is up there, the people are very, very impatient, and they melt all the gold and they create a golden calf. And when Moses comes down, when he comes back, he sees that and he breaks the first tablets. So tomorrow, if you if you want to follow the service tomorrow, I will talk about the first set of tablets which was broken, and the questions: what happened to this set of tablets? Why are they kept? But it's not the topic tonight. So Parashat Truma starts with the idea of you shall say to the children of Israel, blah blah blah. It's a bit irreverential. Sorry about that, but tell them to bring a truma, to bring an offering, and truma is also a part of a sacrifice, that the food that will be given to the priest later when the temple of Jerusalem is standing. And this truma, this offering, is actually voluntary. They have to bring it if their heart moves them so. So that's the first thing they do. They build this tabernacle, they build this sanctuary, portable sanctuary, and that's the first thing they do together. And they all put something into it. They all put their skills. We learned about Bezalel was an artist who, the design came from God to Moses, and Bezalel actually put into reality. In this, the first part of this tabernacle, which is built according to this passage, is actually the ark, the Aron HaKodesh. The Aron HaKodesh is a little box inside which you find the tablets of the law. And this Aron HaKodesh is in this Holy of Holies, really at the end. Nobody can go there, and it's really remote, and it's probably the most sacred part of the whole of the whole structure. Another aspect which I think is very important to notice is that Judaism is portable in a way. They carried the tabernacle with them. They carried all the material they used. And if you look at the parasha, so we have here, we start this Teruma, which starts talking about this, but we have Exodus 25 to 31 and then 35 to 40, which represent almost a third of the book of Exodus, describing in very, very precise details all the creation, all the elements necessary to build this tabernacle. So it meant something very important. So what did it mean? It meant first that with this tabernacle, God could now reside among his people, among God's people. Of course, the question is, does God need a place to reside? That's always the question of, in our religious life, do we really need rituals? Do we really need objects that bring into our lives certain elements of religious life? God is everywhere, so they needed a place. Of course, they need a place to worship God. If you look at the words used to talk about this tabernacle is actually in a church, in a Catholic church, tabernacle is a little box where you can find I don't know how you call the hostie, this kind of bread that the priest uses for Eucharisty. So in Hebrew you have Mishkan. Mishkan means residence, dwelling place, and it's very clear, the meaning of this word. Ve'asuli mikdash, and they shall make for me a mikdash, a sanctuary. V'shachanti betocham, and I shall dwell among them. But it's also called a ohel, a tent. And if I could, I would have shown you this wonderful tent covered with several layers of. Rebecca, please don't do that. Don't tweet blah blah blah. So yeah, I could have shown you the wonderful all the details, the 3 layers of cloths, etc. But it's a tent. It's not. It's a tent because they lived in the desert, of course. But it's also a tent which is called Ohel Moed, the 10th of Moed. Moed is a time, an appointed time in the Torah. So the 10th of the timing, if you want, the 10th of a meeting. So they used this tabernacle throughout their wanderings in the desert, and when they settled in Jerusalem later on, so the 400 centuries between this time and the Temple of Jerusalem built by Solomon later, over 400 centuries. But then the tabernacle was left in Jerusalem, and the Ark of the Covenant was put into the temple, into the Holy of Holies. And it's quite clear that this tabernacle described in the book of Exodus is actually the blueprint of a future temple of Jerusalem. And I like to finish with something which is also very interesting to note is when the rabbis later in the Talmud wanted to list all the prohibited works on Shabbat, they used all the works, the labor involved in the building of the tabernacle. So they made a list of 39 works which were forbidden during Shabbat because the tabernacle is understood as a microcosm, as the universe, as God created the universe and the people created a smaller universe on God's blueprint. So you can't create something on Shabbat because God stopped creating. Communion, yes. Okay, I'd like to finish with a text by Rabbi John Rayner, which I think is very timely. Why do we worship? It's not why do we worship, but what happens when we worship together as a community. See, this is what Rabbi John Rayner Zichrono Livracha said. In worship, we break out of our isolation. We rediscover our need for each other, and we remember that we are not alone. For each congregation is a microcosm of the worldwide house of Israel. And when we say we engage in an act of collective self-dedication. The synagogue is the sanctuary of Israel, born of Israel's longing for God. Throughout our wanderings, it has endured as a stronghold of hope and inspiration, teaching us the holiness of life and inspiring us a love of humanity. Right. Okay, so before we conclude our service, we've got a lot of exciting things happening at KLS in the coming weeks. So I'm going to tell you more. I hope you've all seen already the newsletter. But so we have the usual classes. We have on Tuesday evening the biblical Hebrew, and we have Exploring Judaism. And on Thursday evening, Hebrew for Beginners, led by Dominic Scholtes. Dominic, I don't know if you can hear me tonight, but there are other people who ask me if you could start again a new series of if you could start again this course, so we can talk about it. Sunday evening at 7:45. Andre Fries, our dear Andre Fries, will represent KLS and during question time. So there will be a panel of 5 representatives of South London synagogues, someone from Wimbledon, someone from Kingston United, someone from Northwest Surrey, someone from Richmond, and the chair will be Leo Kelly on the BBC Technology Desk Editor, 7:45. And if you want to come, you can register. You have to register, and you have to click on the link. Wednesday, it's something which also I think is quite important. And you've heard probably about Citizens UK, which is an association that promotes community building, that brings people together. And I was introduced to them by Rabbi Janet and Vince when I started at KLS. And I did their training, their 2 days training, and it was fascinating to see how they thought about engaging people and building communities. So there's someone now who has been hired by Citizens UK to develop Citizens UK in South London. And we had a house meeting on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. And we just start talking about how COVID has affected our mental health because they have launched a campaign about mental health under the time of COVID. So if you want to come to this house meeting, it's about an hour and it's on Zoom. Please send me an email. Next Friday, next Friday, no, I forgot. Tomorrow morning, actually, we'll have a service. Rebecca Weddell leading the music from the sanctuary, and she will come back next Friday. And next Friday evening, she will lead a Purim style Erev Shabbat. And on Saturday, we'll do our Purim spectacular, as Craig said, morning of fun. Purim with Queen Vashti will talk about. She will be interviewed by Sarah Weber, and she will talk about her life as a feminist queen at the court of Hachashverosh, with this kind of very thick macho king, and with some Beitenu students, we judge Haman, because Haman needs to be just, and we will decide if Haman deserves Hamantashen. So there will be someone will play Haman, and as Greg has said, any likeness between Haman and Rabbi Janet is purely coincidence. That can be discussed, of course. There is also in March, I'm teaching a class I'm teaching one of the four, but I'm part of a 4 weeks class with Rabbi Leah Mühlstein from Northwood and from the Ark Synagogue about the Cairo Geniza. And we will have, I don't remember his name now. Oh gosh, the American rabbi wrote a book of the Cairo Geniza. He will talk. So it's 4 Thursday in March. You have to, it's free, of course, but you have to register. So if you're housebound, remember that Kingston Community Library can deliver books at your home. So again, in the newsletter, there is a phone number. So if you can't get out of your house and you want to read books, just call them and they will help you with that. And thank you to Katya and Natasha Ray, who so they did a cook along, coffee and walnut financier. Gosh, I couldn't be there, but they look absolutely delicious. And Sunday, the 7th of March, Film Crusher. We'll discuss the trials of Oppenheimer. Oh, I mean, there will be a lot. And the first bat mitzvah of our long, remember, between now and the end of August, we have 10 Bnei Mitzvah, and which would be a very nice Bnei Mitzvah season for KLS. And other events, have a look on this on the newsletter. There's a lot of things going on. And is there anything? Yeah. Oh, yes, Sandra. Yes. I know. You're right. Right. Anything else? Please put a note in the comment section of Facebook, and we will now conclude our service. Page 520. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לאחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומי. אם הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת ים והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Before we say the Kaddish, if you have names you would like to remind us to remind the community of Shabbat, this Shabbat, and we have in this week's yard sites Ivor Kiverstein, the brother of Keith Kiverstein, and Max Feldman, the father of Karen Burgess and father-in-law of Ken Burgess. Do we have any other name you would like to call to our memory tonight? Zichronam livracha, may the memory be a blessing. יתגדל ויתקדש שמך הבא, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו, אמן. יהא שמך הבא מבורך לעלם לעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבר ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה יריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תוש ברכתה ונחמתה, דאמירן ועלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל בני אדם ואמרו אמן. So we're adding tonight Toki Wolfson and Les Wolfson and Kathleen Godring. And Ingrid is a very good friend whose father died this week on COVID in Portugal, and she couldn't go to her father's funeral. So we also think about the many people who have lost their lives to COVID so far. Okay, let's the usual. Okay, Yom Zel Israel. I like it, and I'm sure you like. Ah, no, you know what? No. Yeah, let's do Yom Zel Israel. I think it's a nice way to finish this Shabbat service, and I want to hear you shouting Yom Zeh when I tell you to do that. Yom Zeh leIsrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh leIsrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha, Shabbat menucha. Tzivita pikudim במעמד סיני, שבת ומועדים לשמוע בכל שנה, לאחור לפני מעשה דברוכה, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh, Yom Zeh leIsrael. I'm enjoying myself. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm enjoying myself. Oh, Yom Zeh leIsrael, Ora v'simcha, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat menucha. Yom Zeh leIsrael, Ora v'simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. עמדת הלבבות להום שבוכה, לנפשות נכאב ושמייך, מנפש מצך, יסיר ונחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה. קידשת ברכת אותו מכל ימים, בששת כילית מלאכת עולמים, בו מצה גומי מגום השקט וביתך, שבת, שבת מנוחה, שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה, אורה ושמחה, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל, אורה ושמחה. שבת, שבת מנוחה. שבת, שבת מנוחה. Shabbat Shalom. And let's do now our Erev Shabbat Kiddush, which is in your prayer books on page 563. And you are in your homes now. I don't know, some of you are alone, some of you are with your family. You can see that my dear sister-in-law Teresa is with us tonight. And it's time to bless each other. You know, when we bless each other, it doesn't mean that we are not the source of blessings. We ask God's blessing to come upon us. And when we ask God's blessing, it's like opening the doors of the divine flow into our lives. May God bless us and guide us. Let us seek truth, make peace, be kind and courteous in our words, just and loving in our deed. A noble heritage has been entrusted to us. Let us guard it well. Yevarech Adonai v'shmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God look kindly upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God reach out to you in tenderness and give you peace. And let us say, Amen. Page 564. יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים וארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר בחר אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן, אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת, אמן. לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ. Amen. Right. Thank you for interacting with me on the comment section, because it feels so weird to see your face, only your face, and having people joking and saying Shabbat Shalom and commenting. It's really, really good. It doesn't feel as lonely as it could be in my little office here at home. Thank you for coming tonight to our service. Thank you for our friends from all over the world, wherever you come from. And lots of love to you too. And God bless. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Love you guys.